Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which has been domesticated even in Lagos State. Section 3738 mandates government to provide psychotherapy for victims of trauma. So they owed Bimbo a duty, and they failed Bimbo woefully, and we are calling them out.
Men Against Rape Foundation and Make a Difference Initiative, two civil society organizations working to end sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria, have condemned the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency of Lagos State for their negligence and complicity in the circumstances that led to the death of Mrs Bimbo Ogbonna. Recalling the Lagos State government had on the 15th of October 2022 ordered a coroner inquest into the cause of the death of Bimbo Ogbonna, who allegedly died due to severe fire injuries. There were allegations that her husband Ikechukwu Ogbonna set her on fire and watched her burn during a heated argument. Bimbo was also accused of buying kerosene and setting herself ablaze on the 13th of October 2022 in her Lagos apartment during dispute with her husband. The organizations claimed that the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, which they had previously praised, failed to act proactively in Bimbo's case.
It is on record, and we have this record, that Bimbo, late Bimbo, had filed formal complaints to the DSVA agency twice of a series of domestic abuses by her husband, spousal abuses. Now, having filed such complaints, we have the record where, and I'll share that with you, where at some point she was in distress, had even ran away to a hotel. She was calling from there, she was in distress, and was calling a lawyer who was handling the case at the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency to ask for our intervention, saying that I have sent you these petitions, what are you doing about it? You have not arrested him, you have not picked him up, all of those.
This video, obtained by Rootstv Nigeria, the late Bimbo's housemaid, was seen narrating what transpired between the couple before her death. She said
that she should leave the house. That it should allow her to wear clothes. So mom now said I should not get her clothes, and I went to bring clothes for her. Still, that now, they were fighting like it was. Mommy did not touch him. He was one pushing her that she should leave the house, that she should leave the house. Then me and the kids, we were outside. He now jammed the door, was beating her. So later, he now opened the door and now came to share with mommy. She was weak. She just sat down on the floor. So I was like, should I on the light? Are you on the light? She said, no, that she off it. Before the daddy now called her that winch, that she's a winch. Mom now used to cover her eyes. So later, he was now saying that she should leave the house. That you want to know whether he's the owner of the house or she is the owner of the house. So, mom now said that we should leave. So, mom carry Kyra and carry Amara. We now went to the water side and came back. So when we came back, mom was like, we should, like, when we came back, she said I should go and ring the bell. I went to ring the bell, he did not come out. Then she put up the gel. That was when he came out. He now said that, why do you put up my gel? So mom was like, she wants to take clothes for the kids. So he now opened the door. When mommy went upstairs to get her own stuff, that was when she was shouting. That means daddy was still beating her again. So later, I now heard she's like, he jammed the door. He jammed the door 3 times and I shout, Jesus. Later, I heard a gunshot. When I heard the gunshot, mommy, I did not hear mommy. I heard a gunshot from upstairs. Because I had the kids away. So, mommy now, I did not hear. Mom was like, hey, start. I heard just a voice. But the voice was not loud. So I now said that Daddy, how his mom is shaking. I want to go and meet her. He was standing on the step. So he now said no, that she's fine, she's fine. So two security from Lagos State, they came to the
Also, a copy of late Bimbo's conversation with the lawyer currently handling her case was also provided. In a press briefing in Abuja on Thursday, Lemi Ugebe, executive director of MARF, said it is even more bizarre that an organization whose Facebook page proclaims that every domestic abuse case is a possible murder case will not respond to a distress call from someone who has previously filed 2 complaints. Ugebe also stated that
our press conference will not bring Bimbo back. But we are saying that there are so many Bimbos out there all over Nigeria. And we need to call out this DSVA now on this case so that it can make them again sit up on other cases of distress calls that they receive. Our wives, our children, our daughters, our nieces, our nephews, they are all endangered because sexual and domestic violence is on a mad rise. And we cannot have an agency that is set up to expedite action, treat Bimbo's case as if Bimbo's life does not matter.
Comrade Jacob Eddy, who bemoaned the rising tide of domestic and sexual violence, called on the Lagos State Director of Public Prosecution to summon the DSVA for the files containing documentation evidence of the deceased physical abuse by her husband.
Even you, a human being, you have no right to take your own life. The law does not permit you to take your own life. So when a man's wife is on fire and the next thing he needs to do, he has to do, is to take shots of it or do video recording, something should prick your mind. And this is where we are coming from. Even the animals, the pets I have in my house, there are sounds they make and I know that there is trouble. I quickly go to check. Not to talk of a man's wife who is on fire, maybe petrol or kerosene, which she poured on herself allegedly. And the next thing the husband has to do is to try to get evidence. What is he trying to protect? So it's very curious actually. And what we are saying is, let the law take its course.
On her part, the founder of Jewel's Hive Initiative, Uluwatoyi Falaye, while demanding justice, stated that it will be a wrong signal for other victims of domestic and gender-based violence to sweep the Bimbo's case under the carpet.
So there are cases indicating that the marriage was bad and it is linked to the husband. It will be justice for everyone, every gender advocate, everyone who stands up against abuse of every form, to actually get to the root of the matter. And just like you said, we are holding the agency in charge of this accountable. Let us get results from this assault. Bimbo is dead, she cannot come back. But it is really, really sad that we do not get justice for people who have died from abuse, and the victimization continues for them even in death.
While fielding questions from journalists on the next step in getting justice, they said,
the reason we are doing this is a first step in our advocacy to make sure that the Bimbo case is not just swept under the carpet. It's also an advocacy to make sure that the DSVA, Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency of Lagos State, really sits up, gets to the bottom of the officers who were complacent with Bimbo's distress call, then really enter what is called a standard operational practice guidebook, where they will know that every case that is reported must be treated as if it's a matter of life and death. After all, every case of domestic violence, according to Lagos State DSVA, has a potential to lead to murder. This has led to death. We cannot sit here and say it is murder, but we know that enough questions must be answered by Ikechukwu Ogbonna, who chose to be recording the wife burning instead of rescuing her.